Welcome back. It's time to take a look at UFC 305 and see if the model can keep the winning streak alive. For some reason, this card hasn't seemed to get much hype recently, but we are still excited for many of the fights. The bets on this one got out of hand very quickly, so let's get right into it. We'll be skipping the first fight of the night because the model won't calculate predictions without any fight history. Our first fight prediction will be between Kenan Song and Ricky Glenn at welterweight. Ricky was a featherweight just 4 fights ago. He then went 1-2 with 1 draw at lightweight. Now he looks to be moving up to welterweight, and he must be on the Rumble Johnson meal plan. You'd expect Kenan to have a significant size advantage because of this, but height and reach are almost identical. Both of these guys have been on a bit of a bad run lately, losing 3 of their last 5, each suffering 2 KO losses in that time. Their record shows plenty of KO victories on either side, so we could see this fight end early. The bookmakers favor Kenan in this one, and the model agrees. It is likely that Kenan will have a significant strength advantage, and could get the fight to the ground if he wants to. The next matchup is Tom Nolan at 7-1 versus Alex Reyes at 13-4. Reyes is 3-2 in his last 5, but those fights date back to 2015. He has only had a single fight since September of 2017, and that was a loss 11 months ago. Tom Nolan went pro, won 6 straight, lost his UFC debut, and rebounded in the time that Reyes has had a single fight. If ring rust is real, we can expect to see it here. Alex's record is showing 9 KO/TKO wins, but 6 of those have no real data to look at. Tom's last 5 wins have all come by KO/TKO, mostly in the first round. The book odds on this fight are absolutely insane, minus 1,500 for Nolan. The model odds are much more conservative at minus 133. We strongly considered not placing this bet. 15% of the bankroll on a single fight seems ridiculous, but we made the rules and the model says to bet Nolan, so we took the risk. If we lose this one, next week's video may be begging for donations. Moving on to another huge favorite, Jack Jenkins is sitting at minus 800 against Herbert Burns. Jenkins was riding a 9-fight win streak until this time last year when Chepe Mariscal broke his arm during a takedown. Burns, on the other hand, is on a 3-fight losing streak spanning the last 4 years. He's been finished in all 3 of those and has just quit in his last 2. Herbert is still dangerous off the ground early in the fight and has plenty of first-round submissions to show for it. Jack hasn't been subbed in more than 6 years, but the sport is unpredictable. The model likes Jenkins here, so only 3 fights in, and we have nearly 1/4 of our bankroll riding on this card. If you are feeling brave, look at Burns by sub for plus 750 or round 1 sub for plus 1,500. The only female fight on this card will be Casey O'Neill versus Luana Santos. Santos is making a very quick turnaround after her first-round finish of Maria Agapova last month. She is stepping in on short notice after O'Neill's original opponent withdrew. Casey is currently on a 2-fight losing streak, but those are the only 2 losses in her professional career. Santos has won 5 in a row, and her only loss came by split decision. Both of these women are well-versed on the ground, with O'Neill preferring ground and pound, while Santos searches for submissions. The bookmakers have this fight slightly favoring Santos, and the model sees the odds almost exactly the same. We are happy to take Luana here, and are just happy that she isn't another minus 1 million favorite. Our next bout is Josh Culibao and Ricardo Ramos, both trying to fight back from a 2-fight skid. Ramos would be Dustin Poirier's dream opponent, having lost his last 2 by first-round guillotine. I don't expect that Culibao will be looking for a submission, but he was able to secure a rear naked choke in his last win. This fight looks like Ramos will be looking to get it to the ground and hopefully not give up his neck in the process, while Culibao will aim to keep it standing. The bookmakers think that Josh gets it done, while our model is pointing towards Ramos. Let's hope that Ricardo is the one moving back into the win column on Saturday night. The final fight on the prelims is a heavyweight matchup between Junior Tafa and Walter Walker. Walker is a little taller at 6'6", but has a massive 9-inch reach advantage. He is 11-1 in his career and looking to bounce back after losing his last fight. Tafa is currently 5-2, but it doesn't look good that one of those losses came by decision to Muhammad Usman. The book odds show Tafa as a favorite here, but I am more in line with the model. Walker should only need to dodge a first-round KO in order to win here. Kicking off the main card, we've got the birthday boy Carlos Prates fighting Jingliang. The Leech is coming back after a layoff of nearly 2 years, partially due to a spine injury, while Prates is making a quick turnaround after only 70 days. They have very similar records, but Lee has been up and down over his last 5 fights, and Carlos has gone undefeated since he quit kickboxing in 2021. Prates' last 8 wins have all been KO TKO stoppages, so we can expect him to test the uncracked chin of the Leech. The book odds have Carlos as a big favorite here, and our model isn't so sure. Despite the lack of confidence, it still does like Prates in this fight, so we placed our bet. Moving on, we have another heavyweight bout between Tuivasa and Rozenstruik. These guys are KO machines that you expect in the heavyweight division, each finishing more than 90% of their wins. They are terrible on the ground with not a single submission between the two of them, and with 40 professional fights in total, they have only seen 5 decisions. This fight will almost certainly be a slugfest, and someone is probably going to go to sleep. The model and the book both believe that Tuivasa will be the one to fall. I'd hate to see him drop 5 in a row, but we can still bet for or against him in Bellator. Our money is on Rozenstruik in this one. The feature bout for this card sees Mateusz Gamrot fighting Dan Hooker at lightweight. Dan is coming back from an arm injury that had put him out since the end of last year. Because of that, it has been over 400 days since his last fight. He is 3-2 in his last 5, but his losses were at the hands of top-level competition. Gamrot has stayed active and recently staked his claim in the top of the division. He has gone 4-1 in his last 5, and, except for an opponent injury, all of those have gone to the judges. The books favor Gamrot by a huge margin, and the model also sees him as a substantial favorite. If he can add Dan's name to his win column, he'll be in good company. Our co-main event is a matchup between 2 former title contenders at flyweight. Erceg challenged for the belt just a few months ago with a good showing that took the current champion to a decision. This loss snapped an 11-fight win streak that dated back to 2018. Kai had his title shot more than 2 years ago, but has only fought a single time since then, losing that one as well. These two are fighting to keep their name in the title picture, and the books think that Erceg is the more capable fighter. The model thinks so as well, and has set the true odds very close. The model was wrong about Erceg winning last time, but it has gotten smarter since then. We'll be closing out the card with the middleweight title bout between Dricus Du Plessis and Israel Adesanya. Israel is taller and longer than Dricus and has very crisp striking to complement. Many people thought that the best path to victory against Adesanya was through wrestling, but Strickland showed that you only need to talk about his dog. Dricus is on a 9-fight win streak and has never lost in the UFC, although his last fight against Sean was a bit controversial. The book odds have gotten much closer on this fight, and we picked up Du Plessis at plus 105. The model believes that he should be a sizable favorite. Last year, we were happy to pick up a future on Dricus at plus 225 immediately after the Whitaker fight. We've taken some big favorites on this card, so let's check the overview and see how badly this could hurt. The model produced results for 11 out of 12 fights at UFC 305, and it chose 8 favorites and 3 underdogs to win. With some absolutely terrifying lines at the book, we have wagered 40 units, which is also 40% of our bankroll. Our potential return on investment is only 11.28 units, or roughly 28%. This week could absolutely break us if things go wrong, but we trust the model at this point. We'll be sweating it out this weekend, and you can see my live thoughts over on Twitter. We put out PFL Week 8 predictions earlier this week, and we'll be back next week with results from both cards. Thank you for watching, and good luck this weekend.